This is the Soul-Filled Sisterhood podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole Burgess, licensed marriage and family therapist and an empowerment mentor for women. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute, nor is it to convey professional, psychological, financial, or medical advice. If you could use such services, please seek them out from someone you trust. Now here is today's episode. Episode 33. Well, welcome, sisters. Today's episode is sponsored by Nicole Burgess, the Introvert Empowerment Mentor. She mentors the introverted, the sensitive entrepreneurs who are ready to end the overwhelm and stressed out cycle. To have your free breakthrough call, go to NicoleBurgessCoaching.com/apply. So at the time of this recording, it's coming to the year end, and I just want to let you know that next week, which is the week of the 31st, there will not be an episode being published. I'm going to take a little time off, and then I'll definitely return at the beginning of January, that kind of full first week of January. And I want to give you ladies a heads up. In the month of January, we're going to talk quite a bit about money mindset. That is one of the big issues that I hear over and over from women that I've worked with and those colleagues, friends of mine. Money still becomes a huge, sometimes blocker for women. And we're going to talk a lot about that mindset piece. And I've got some guests on that we're going to really try and break through some of those things. I'm also going to do about close to a month worth of kind of some business stuff regarding bringing in some spirituality into your business. Again, talking a lot about the fears that can get in the way of our business. So I hope you tune into those as well. And feel free to always reach out to me. If there's something that you really want to hear on the podcast, you just go out to NicoleBurgessCoaching.com and you can send me an email from the contact page and we can go from there. What I wanted to talk about today is really the top 5 episodes so far this year in 2018 that have been downloaded. And the number one episode that has been downloaded the most is episode 12. And this is where I was talking with my guest, Sharon Martin, who is a licensed social worker, and she's a writer and speaker. But we talked quite a bit about boundaries for introverts and the people pleasers. And this continues to be one of the top episode that is downloaded. And in this episode, we talked quite a bit about giving yourself permission to really do a lot of self-reflection on your boundaries, like what's working, what's not, how to actually prevent or even end the resentment of not having boundaries, and how people-pleasing behaviors can really impact every single arena of your life, every area of your life. And once you figure out what it is that you're doing, maybe the secondhand gain that you're getting from it, beginning to learn how to end that with appropriate boundaries. The second most downloaded episode was episode 4, and that's where I was talking with guest Lynn Dutro. And this is the episode where we talk quite a bit about anxiety driving your life and how to actually, where society tells us to fight against it and we say embrace it, kind of learn from it, but you can move on from it versus getting stuck in it. So she talks about some of the ways that she works with people and how to overcome the anxiety or move forward in that. The third next top downloaded episode is episode 9, where I talk about Dr. Elaine Aron's work regarding a highly sensitive person, really understanding the traits, which is the acronym DOES, which is depth of processing, over-arousability, emotional intensity, and sensory sensitivity. So if you think that you are more sensitive, or you have been told quite often growing up, you're too sensitive, just get over it, what's wrong with you? I invite you to check out this episode. And then you can go out to Dr. Elaine Aron's website, and she has a quiz out there that you can take to see if you kind of hit the traits that she talks about, which says that you are highly sensitive. Oftentimes what I find is those who have taken the Myers-Briggs, if you end up being an INF, whether it's the J or the P or an E and F, there's also the NTs that can also be highly sensitive. Doesn't mean that just because you have that on the Myers-Briggs that you are, but oftentimes people are. So again, I'd invite you to go out to Dr. Elaine Aron's website as well and take that quiz. The fourth most downloaded episode is When the Good Girl Grows Up. And I see this so often with the women that I work with. They are still living in the good girl mindset or behind that persona because it, quote, keeps them safe. And yet they're miserable in their life. They're stuck in the overwhelm. They're stuck in the stressed out cycle. And they really want to move forward, yet they're stuck behind this because then they worry about what other people are going to think about them versus being their full adult woman that they are. And it's time to really break free from hiding behind that mask and stepping into your incredible, powerful self that you are. Some people resonate, I know, with being the goddess that you are. Some people resonate with being the warrior that you are. So whatever word you want to use to step into your full adult woman self, that I would, encourage you to do so and check out that episode to see if any of those things really align with you. The next downloaded episode is kind of in a tie between episode 11 and episode 7. So in episode 11, I talked with guest April Snow, and again, she's a psychotherapist in San Francisco, and she talks all about, her specialty is working with the highly sensitive clients. And in this episode, she talks about really her lifestyle as an HSP, and it's really coming from the psychotherapeutic standpoint. That's how she's built her business. That's what she's, it's built around that. But you can actually create that lifestyle that works for you, whether you're a therapist or you're not. So in this episode, we talk about ways to, again, create a life that really works for you, how the brain is activated or how it's impacted when we get overwhelmed. She talks about how you can begin your day with ease, which I totally agree with, and the power of being able to say no. Again, going back to those boundaries are really, really important. The other episode that tied with April's is episode 7, like I said, and that is with Melody Wilding. And she shared so much about how she is also introverted and an HSP, but also how when we don't acknowledge our own emotions, when we avoid them, how that impacts our lives. So in this episode, we talked quite a bit about investing in yourself, and that looks like self-care, that looks like mentoring, coaching, in ways to actually challenge your mindset versus like HSPs, introverts, we are very much in our head often, which is beautiful. And if it turns more into the ruminating, meaning getting stuck, it's being able to challenge that and that inner critic so that you can move forward and not stay stuck in that. So those are the top 5 episodes that have been downloaded in 2018 at this point in time. And if you want to go back and re-listen to some of those episodes. If there is something like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, I encourage you, take a listen to those. And if you haven't, then enjoy them over this holiday break, where again, I will take off next week and be back after that. So again, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate all your support. May you and your family have wonderful holidays wherever you are, however you celebrate. And I will see you in 2019. If you are a professional woman, whether you're an entrepreneur in the corporate arena, and you are ready to end the overwhelm and stressed out cycle so that you can have deeper connections not only with yourself but your loved ones, I encourage you to go out to NicoleBurgessCoaching.com/apply for your free breakthrough call today.